everybody, Jenny here, and I'm joined today with BJ Emerson, CEO of Buzzadelic and co-author of the awesome social media book from the brand's perspective called The Tasty Delight Way. Hi, BJ.
Hey, Jenny, how you doing?
Thanks for joining me today. You have such great experience from the brand's perspective on really how to use social media to connect with your customers and really create a digital brand successfully. So I really am pumped about this interview today. I'll get started and jump right into the questions. Number one is, in the book you write about making a shift from IT to digital marketing, and now you've started your own agency, Buzzadelic, and I was just wondering why.
Yeah, so great question. I've seen a lot of solutions and a lot of different business models over the last 5 years, and I think we've all seen technologies come and go, and we've seen both consumers and businesses moving just from adoption to full integration in social. So everything is social now, and everyone's really moving to integrate those things into their enterprise. And I think that of all the things I've seen and all the business models and all the great solutions that people have, presented over the years, I think at the end of the day, I think we're all going to still need content, right? Compelling content that's going to start those conversations that are going to lead to other places for us. So, again, as the IT guy, and I've written extensively on this, why IT guys should be involved in social media, right? I think we have a lot of built-in kind of inherent benefits in the skill sets that we have. So, I just got on into these things, and it kind of corrupted my IT DNA. And so this is where I'm at, and I'm really excited about the future and what's happening in online marketing and content marketing, those kind of things. So that's the path going forward.
Awesome. I'm excited to see some of your first clients and how you help them transform their brand just from your past experience with a brand in-house. Really, you're hands-on, which I love. You guys didn't contract out at Tasty Delight from an agency. You did it in-house, and I really like that. So I think you have a lot to offer as an agency to other clients and stuff, because you know how it works hands-on in-house and what kind of content you need to do and derive from your team to get out to your customers. So that's great. Next question, in your eyes, what does a social-friendly brand mean to you?
Yeah, I think that, being social-friendly goes just beyond, listening online, which I hope a lot of brands are, they're now doing that, responding, of course, interacting. I think there's a lot of change that has to happen internally within an organization in order to embrace this mindset. I mean, we've gone from, and you think about an IT guy, we've gone from monitoring employees' activity on social networks to now monitoring customers' interactions or activity on social networks. So, so there's that whole fear and control kind of thing. I think going forward in the future, we're going to see two different kinds of businesses: the kind that kind of restrict the social activities of their employees, and those that empower the social activity of their employees. That's certainly a shift I think many are dealing with at this point, and I think once you get there, you're really much closer to being where you need to be in this environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of a challenge. That's why some people are hesitant to start. But start now, because if you wait, your competitors are already starting and they're going to blow you out of the water. So get started today. The big thing with social marketing, especially marketing in general, but definitely social media, is telling a story with your brand. And on your latest blog post on Buzzadelic, you talk about storytelling fundamentals, which it was a great read. And you make the point that smart marketers are cutting through the noise and starting conversations that matter to their customers. I was just wondering if you could lend some tips on how you do that.
Yeah, so I think, number one, you're going to want to make some kind of emotional connection. And if that's, so find out how your customers are interacting around your product, what they're passionate about as it relates to your brand, and then tell stories around how they're doing that, how they're interacting. So, for example, at Tasty Delight, when we were searching for our biggest Tasty fan, we put out a search there and made a contest and we got all these great stories from customers and how they would go to Tasty Delight with their with their friends, and that was a real bonding time for them as they shared around the product. And so things like that, looking for things like that is going to be important, I think, going forward in content creation. And then just remember, your story is not all about you. So a good story always includes others, and you want to be able to make sure you include them, so you get that emotional buy-in, online, and there's that resulting conversation from it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example of Tasty Delight, because not only did you use your fans to create the content, but you were also, showing appreciation for your fans when you did that. When you did Tasty Fan of the Week, or when you asked them to share their story when they're at your stores, not only is it content that they love, but it's promoting your fans and getting their faces on social media, which they absolutely love, and then they share that content, which is just, exemplifies your reach. So I think that's a great example. So we're talking about all this social media and storytelling. What does this have to all do with SEO?
Well, yeah, so search engines are obviously looking for fresh, relevant content, and it's looking at these conversations that's happening around a given keyword or phrase or whatever it is. So, as we write, we have to think SEO. We have to think our headlines and our tags and whatever it is that we're using in the tools that we're using. We need to think like a search engine. Answering the questions that people are asking in searches, and then writing to that, and making sure we have putting in those keywords and those kind of things. But I think it's going to be the interaction, and going forward, increasingly so, it's going to be the interaction around those topics that search engines are going to say, hey, this is relevant, popular content, and that's what I'm going to serve up.
Absolutely. And my last question is, how did you and Jim Amos, CEO of Tasty Delight, how did you guys go about writing the Tasty Delight way?
Yeah, so it was a couple years in the making, and Jim had written other books, so we were able to get with a publisher and get in front of a couple publishers and present to them our proposal. But then once we got kicked off, did for interviews, of course, probably about 80 different people, I think, involved in the book. So a lot of customers, interviewed everyone at the home office. Of course, Jim and I sat down for many hours, and I get really specific in a recent blog post I just published about how to interview your CEO and other executives that don't have time to blog. And so it goes into great detail about kind of how we did that, and then really I think it's helpful for someone who's looking to create regular content. But their executives and other thought leaders in their organization that perhaps don't have time to write. And so how do you capture that? And it starts with putting on your story, what I call your story radar. So turn on your story radar, capture those stories, and then streamline the process. But go to buzzadelic.com, the blog there, real recent post on kind of how to do that.
I think that's a great tip, because I know for me that'd definitely be helpful. Our CEO, he has so much information in his head, and my VP of marketing, but you're right, they just don't have time to blog, and they haven't been doing it for years like you and I have, but they have so much information that I want to share on our blog, because it's so valuable to not only our clients but also our prospects and just our followers. So I think I'm going to go read that blog post, because that would definitely be helpful for me. Since you have written a book now, and a lot of social media books out there, I find them to be full of fluff, not really helpful how-to tips, more just, theory, and not telling you how to get those results. And your book actually really puts you in the driver's seat and has really hardcore metrics on how to do things, and as well as the success stories for implementing that strategy. I just wonder if maybe you had a couple tips for anybody that's looking to write a book, whether it's about social media or marketing in general, maybe just a couple tips on how to write a successful book to get some attention out there.
Yeah, well, I think I think one of the things that I did right when we first started was capture these stories, and it was grabbing screenshots of conversations that we had on Twitter, or creative things that we had done in real life, or physical things that we had done with surprise deliveries or whatever it was. Capturing those stories, and then being a curator and bringing that stuff together, and then then we would push that out to our internally and share that externally as well. So it's really just capturing all those things, grabbing screenshots, capturing the context of the conversations that are happening, and then you'll have the content that you need.
That's great.
And again, a lot of interviews, but that answers your question.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's a lot of awesome information. I'm really excited to share this. And again, the Buzzadelic blog is full of tons of great information for everybody watching. I'll post a link below to that website in the description of the video. And thank you so much, BJ, for your time. I'm really excited to watch Buzzadelic roll out and your clients that you get and the success stories that you'll share with us. And to everybody else, thanks for watching.